You gotta make sure they understand in life, you're not gonna know everything. You're not gonna be able to do everything your way.
Mm-hmm.
There's always gonna be somebody that knows more than you, that does things better than you. And what you want to do with that is learn from them, pick up what they have done or they are trying to teach you, and benefit from it. And here we go. You're listening to the Kings Can Move On podcast with your hosts, Jason Stewart and Frank Rainey.
Podcast world, what's happening? You welcome to the Kings Can Move On podcast. You got your co-host Frank the Tank, aka Big Reno, in the house.
And your boy Lil J over here, aka Wood, in the house too. You know, I never know what to expect when we lead off this thing with the intro. I just sit back and wait to hear what you gonna say.
I gotta keep you on your toes, man. Gotta keep you on your toes when we talking now.
You definitely do that, my dude. You definitely do that, man.
What's
How you
good
doing
with
today,
you,
bro?
man? I will tell you, man. A lot of people in this world or community, whatever you want to call it, they don't believe in COVID, and
Hmm.
I've had it twice now. Um, The first time it was tough. That first time was tough. The second time though, it really put me on my ass, and I was vaccinated. So I don't know what happened. I don't know what type of variant and all this shit on, but it's just now that I'm come overcoming it. It's the fatigue now. Like I still got the coughs, which is expected. I kind of expected that, but it's just that fatigue that kicks in. I'm sitting at work, man, thinking that I'm gonna have a good day by 11, 12 o'clock. I'm ooh, it's only 11 or 12 o'clock. It's something ain't right. This is two left shoes. It's all wrong, man.
Now,
So
I may be wrong about this. You may want to
mhm.
correct me, but weren't you one of those folks that didn't believe in COVID at one time?
Yes, and I'm so glad that you said that. So glad that you said that. When this first started back, so we my the company that I work for right now, the company that I work for right now. Shh, don't tell nobody. They um they sent us home in March 2020 when this stuff started getting real and like when this world started shutting down, right?
Right.
And Sage smells good, dude. And so when I remember when our director came and talked to us, I told her, I said, man, this ain't nothing like the flu. It's just the flu, or it's a cold, bad cold, or the flu. And I got it for the first time in October 2020, and on my birthday, stupid ass shit. And then the second time this time, man, like I said, I got vaccinated, and so it's just it made me a believer that first time, that's for sure.
It
So
is real. I don't know why folks want to buy into the whole fake thing anyway. I mean, it's a virus. Viruses exist. I mean,
mhm.
viruses have existed since we've existed. I mean, you know,
Yeah,
whether it's man-made or it comes up out of something, but it's a virus. It's real.
yeah, I
It,
think that's what it was. A lot of people were like, where this just came out of the blue, and this just really knocked everybody out. And there's nothing since the 20s and the polio, or was teens or 20s with the polio vaccine, for polio epidemic or pandemic, whatever
to
they want to
this to
call it.
this extent, yeah. I mean, we had the bird flu and other kind of you know, but it wasn't to this extent. This was
Yeah,
severe. I mean, we shut down the world.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So that was the toughest thing to deal with, man. And like, unfortunately, we're still dealing with it. And prayers out to anybody who is currently dealing with it or has lost somebody who has dealt with it. This is it's a scary thing when you have it, and it hits you and it hurts. I mean, it puts you down, makes you sit down. It
Hmm.
hurts. It hurts. So
Yeah. And you are a healthy individual, so
yeah,
put you on your ass. So you can imagine folks that are not as healthy, you know, older people, people that are compromised, immune systems, can take you out.
yeah. And my mom, man, and that was one of the scariest things because my mom, she's unfortunately dealing with some things where I had to take her to the hospital that the day that I got sick. And it scared me to death because I was like, man, if I pass this on to my mom and she's already dealing with something,
Yeah.
I could never forgive myself. Never ever forgive myself. And so that's the biggest thing with me is at back then in 2020, I may have not have believed in it full fledged, but I still try to wear the mask just simply because although I may not believe in it, I may be a carrier for it. I don't want to be a carrier and have it affect someone else, especially someone that I love. So
Yes. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're coming around, feeling
you
better.
ever had it?
I tested positive, but I haven't had severe symptoms.
Oh
I mean,
shit. Okay.
I had like a cough that
Mm-hmm.
lingered for a while. It wouldn't go away for a while, but I never had it where it took me out like that. Matter of fact, for one day I had like the chills and low body soreness,
Mm-hmm.
but it was like a 1 day deal.
You
After
done had
that,
a nice sweats or nothing?
no,
Ooh.
no, it was just
Ooh.
yeah, just a little sore and you know, fever. Had a fever.
Uh-huh.
I said cough, but it wasn't severe. Fortunately. No, I've been fortunate, been blessed in that
Good, man. Because them night sweats are a bitch. They are a bitch. When you wake up with them damn night sweats, it's like, I won't say what I want to say. Oh, fuck this shit. I'm going to say what I want to say. It's like, I was telling somebody the other day, it was like somebody, a squirter came in the middle of the night
Here we
and
go.
just drenched me
Here we
with
go.
everything. And when I woke up in a puddle of squirt. And I'm just
This
saying, no, it was
this
that.
this is not that episode. This is not the sex episode. We don't have any guests to talk about that shit. I know you dying to have one on here. Talk that crap. But this
That's
is
soon to
not the one.
come, ladies and
I am
gentlemen.
not gonna go there with you tonight on that.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not
And
gonna.
I don't know if you guys see this, but tonight this is brought to you by us, the Kings Can Move On podcast.
And
I
that
don't know if
camera
you can
down. Show
see.
that shirt.
Yeah, we got some shirts, so we're about to start putting some merch out there. We're gonna have it in shirts, hats. Um, we got a couple people that I'm looking at for a distributor that'll be able to make them. Jay got a couple people to looking at. So yeah,
Definitely.
we're gonna get this merch going off, man, because we believe that this is it. Look at that. That is a nice shirt right there.
Ain't it though?
Nice shirt.
It's a hell of a logo too, man. Who came up with that
Beautiful,
logo, man? That's a hell of a logo.
beautiful, beautiful. Kings can move on. Matter of fact, we may get some. We may try to get some to where it'll put on their kings and in parentheses and queens or something. We just trying to get it out, man. We want everybody to know that they can move on. So
Yeah, yeah, that's dope, man. That's a dope looking shirt.
yeah,
I like that. I like that. Looking
I thought of it myself, brother.
good. Yeah, well, you're a very creative man.
Yeah, I came up
I
with that
must
idea
say, I
all
can,
by myself.
well, I'm gonna give you all the props,
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
all the
Appreciate
credit.
it. Yeah, yeah.
All you. It's all you, cuz.
All me, man. It's all my idea.
It's all you.
Market and everything. So, brother, what we got on the agenda today?
So you know me. I peruse the interwebs for different little stories and different topics. That may be of interest.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on the old faithful Facebook or Meta, or whatever the fuck it's called now. And
His daddy named it Facebook. I'm gonna call it Facebook.
on Facebook.
Yeah.
The book.
Hmm.
So I was on one of these groups that I'm a part of, and this guy was going off about how you raise your children, and he was talking about how folks always talking about I got out the mud, I did this, I did that. Teach my child to get out the mud. I'm gonna go through struggles, and he's like, that's stupid. He said, why would you want your child to go through the same struggles you went through?
Hmm.
If you made it through them, don't let your child go through the same struggles. Teach them better. So it got me thinking about that fine line between wanting better for your children and doing better for your children and providing for them, but and not let them have to face the same thing you faced, but also not wanting to do too much for them that they don't have to go through anything to experience life and maybe experience adversity and how to face it and overcome it.
Yeah.
You know, um, I think we look at sometimes the perception is of like rich folks, and I'm gonna say perception because that's not true for everybody. Perception of them is sometimes their kids are so spoiled and taken care of that they don't have to do anything or make their way or earn their way. Some do, but even on smaller scales, not rich folks, just regular folks who have made it have done better than they did, than their parents did.
Hmm.
It's always the desire to do for their children still better than they were. And sometimes we can go, in my opinion, a little too far in shielding and providing where your child doesn't really know how to deal with issues when it comes up and how to face adversity and how to overcome it. You know.
So when you say that, give me an example of what you're talking about when you say going too far,
Well, I would say it like, let's say your child maybe has experienced some criticism from maybe another adult, right? And let's say it was valid criticism, but it upset your child. So as a parent, with your defense mechanism to defend your child, you decided instead of being a learning lesson, you would just remove your child from the situation
though. Hmm.
and say, "Oh, that issue you don't have to face. You ain't
Hmm.
got to deal with that. I'll remove you from it. Take away from all that." As opposed to saying, "Well, listen, this is a teaching moment. What they said was X, Y, Z, and we can face it this way and talk about it, and this is how you want to approach it, and it's an obstacle for you to get better, something for you to look at and overcome.
Hmm.
So if you don't face it that way, you just take them away from it and say, I'm gonna shield you from it. That, in my opinion, can be going too far."
Okay. And I'll say, man, with me, dude, think a little bit different because with Farron, she's 14, she'll be 15 in a couple months, right?
Yeah.
And I'll give you a perfect example. Um, we were at right before the podcast started. She has a softball tournament coming up this weekend, and so we went to the batting cages. Farron has a batting stance that I can't stand. I'm like, why are your feet positioned this way?
Mm-hmm.
Dad, this is blah 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 blah. Now this is a 14. We having a conversation. And so it's part of that. Do I want her to go through the adversity of going through this way, batting this way, or standing this way, and then striking out, or am I going to, and me thinking that she's going to strike out or ground out or pop out or whatever? Or do I let her get comfortable in this stance and just find a better way for her to swing and hit? Because Tony, in my opinion, well, not in my opinion, a lot of people's opinion, Tony Gwynn is one of the best. Uh, batters that we've ever seen in our generation, played for
Right.
San Diego Padres.
Mhm.
And Tony Gwynn didn't have that traditional stance, you know. Um, but he was over. He was a 320 hitter and Hall of Fame guy. Rest in peace. So should I try to adjust that stance, or should I try to adjust my thinking to that stance and try to work on another way to for her to overcome the adversity of striking out? You know what I mean?
If you're enjoying this podcast, don't forget to subscribe and like us on YouTube and rate and follow us on your favorite podcast platform. But is she striking out?
Shit, they in an A tournament now. They've been playing some A ball, man.
So,
They're a B team.
so then, I don't think that's adversity because she's winning with it. I
No,
mean,
no, she's not winning. Well, here recently, they haven't been winning with it. Like when they've been playing their level of competition,
yeah.
she's been winning with it. She's hit well,
Okay.
but
Okay.
now she's stepping up, and she's about to go to high school where the teams that they're playing now,
Mm-hmm.
the pitch she's going to see that type of pitching in high school. So do I need to alter that? Do I need to have her alter that and face that adversity now, or do I say let her deal with that and see it on her own, or that's a difficult thing.
Let's say so. Coach Dad,
Mm-hmm.
um, what does her actual coach say about it?
So I talked to her coach Tuesday before I went back into my COVID slump, and he said that that her stance is something that is holding her back as far as the timing of her pitches, timing
Okay.
of her pitches.
Okay.
Now, I like him, and I think he's a good coach. I think he's a really good coach. I really would like to talk to a couple of her ex coaches, because I think that they are so well versed. I'm not saying that her current coach is not, but I know that she trusts the opinion of her former coaches as well. She respects it very. She speaks very highly of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like for them to see it, because we played them in a tournament about a month ago. So I would really love to talk to them, pull them aside, and say, hey, what do they think? Um,
So why doesn't she have the same respect for this current coach?
I don't think it's that the fact that she doesn't have a respect for the current coach. I think that she was watching the softball college World Series last season,
Yeah.
not this past season, but the last season before that. Saw somebody batting like that. She's like, "Ooh, I like that stance. Let me
Okay.
take that."
So, but what she's gonna have to understand, and you're gonna have to teach her, is that if you're gonna play sports, if you're gonna continue to play sports at a higher level,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be coachable. You have to accept coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And if your coach is telling you, listen, that stance is not going to work long term, you have to be open to the coaching. And then you got to be open to dad saying, yeah, I agree
Right.
with coach, baby
But
girl.
what if we're wrong? What if we're wrong, Jay? That's the thing. Because, like, look at Patrick Mahomes. He is not your traditional drop back five and then throw it, read and throw it. He is
But
one
you
of the
said it's not working for her right now.
not working for it right now. That's true.
So, yeah, she could be a phenomenon
Mm-hmm.
and it could work or it could hold her back
Right.
as she advances in competition. And she may start getting even more frustrated as she advances through competition and she can't keep up with it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's a fine line. Like
Exactly.
you said, you want to let her be herself, but there's also a point where um, you want to coach and develop
Mm-hmm.
your
Mm-hmm.
child. And you got to make sure they understand in life, you're not going to know everything. you're not going to be able to do everything your way.
Mm-hmm.
There's always going to be somebody that knows more than you, that does things better than you. And what you want to do with that is learn from them, pick up what they have done or they are trying to teach you, and benefit from it. Don't go bumping your head against the wall because you think your way is the best way.
Right. True that.
Sometimes it ain't. That's why we have coaches. That's
And
why we have
teachers and whatnot.
teachers. That's why
Mm-hmm.
we have mentors, developers. I wish I had a mentor or something when I was younger to kind of direct me in some avenues of my life.
Right. Right. Right.
I mean, we had parents, and look, I still go to my dad for advice, my mom for advice, and they give great advice. But
Mm-hmm.
there's some things, I could have benefited from, a mentor, a coach here. I didn't play sports beyond high school, so I didn't have what pro athletes have, like a coach relationship with somebody for years, and they're like, yeah, coach was like a father to me, and coach did this, talk about life and all kind of shit like that. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have that. I've had maybe some that have helped me out on the workplace. Managers that maybe coach me up and things like that. But life is about learning and being coached and developed.
Mm-hmm.
We're but but thing is, as a teenager, you're the smartest motherfucker in the world.
Smartest motherfucker in the world. Can't nobody tell me shit.
You know
Nothing.
everything there is to know about every damn thing,
Mm-hmm.
and you can't tell me nothing.
Right. Right.
So
And
that's
if I
what,
don't know it, I'll learn it on my own.
yeah. So sometimes, what they say, a hard head leads to a soft ass.
Soft ass. Soft ass.
Sometimes you're gonna learn the hard way. I
Mm-hmm.
try to tell you, I tried to told you,
Right.
but
Right.
and that's my whole thing about the adversity side of things. Like some of these things, they gotta just learn their own.
Yeah.
You can try
Absolutely.
to steer them and guide them and want for them, but they're gonna have to learn a lot of shit on their own. But
And
can they withstand the adversity and overcome it, or will they just cower and give up? That's what you don't
right.
want. You want to
Right.
you want them to be strong enough to say, "Oh man, that was a bad deal. I mean, that sucks." But watch this bounce back though.
And that's a good thing. That's a good point because one thing that I say that we all come in this world naked and alone. And even if you're a twin, triplet, quadruplet, whatever, sextuplet, whatever, you are still coming out one by one. You are still coming out in this world naked and alone. And when you leave this world, you leave in this world naked and alone. So you have to. So one thing that you have to understand that although you coming in this world alone, you are not alone, and you don't have to deal with the things that you're dealing with, and we are, us as humans, I think, a lot of us humans will look at it and say, okay, I can deal with it. I'm just going to deal with this on my own. I'm shutting everybody down, and I may go on my depression, or I may go on my focus, or whatever the case may be. You have your coping mechanisms to deal with whatever you're dealing with, whatever adversities that you're dealing with. But you have to find a way. If you are seeing that you are not overcoming it, you have to reach out. You have to reach out, and that 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 drug called pride gets us, man, and all of us. I don't care who you are, whether you're one or 101. That pride gets to all of us, and we don't want to deal with that. And a lot of times
Boy,
we have to
that's
let
like
it
that
go.
J. Cole song. J. Cole got a song called "Pride's the Devil."
Oh yeah.
Man, you need to listen to that "Pride's the Devil."
Uh-huh.
It gets in the way of a lot of progress.
It does. It does. Of all of us. Of
Yeah,
all of us.
yeah, it
From the
does.
from the billionaires to the dollionaires. Yeah.
You know
So
what though? I was thinking we was talking about, you know, guidance and mentoring and coaching. We talk a lot about Farron because she's in that stage, teenager and so forth. But how old is Malcolm now?
Malcolm's 23, man, and Malcolm was going through his little trials himself.
So, does he come to you for advice at all?
So Malcolm comes to me last minute. Like when I say last minute, Malcolm will come to me like, Daddy, I need to come on up home. And it's a situation that I'm dealing with right now with him. He called me last Monday. I mean, like 2 Mondays ago, excuse me.
Yeah.
Daddy, I want to come home I'm just dealing with a lot here, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay.
Adversity.
Yeah. So, and got to the point I said, son, okay, well, I'll call you after work and we'll work through it. But the thing with Malcolm is when he calls me at the last minute, he's in some deep, deep, deep stuff.
Yeah.
And then that's when he wants to call. And that's what a lot of us will
Yeah.
call when we'll try to reach out when it's just like almost we need a miracle
Yeah.
in order to overcome it.
Right.
Um, and so when he did that and I tried to call, I ain't talked to Malcolm since. So tried to call him. He hasn't called me, but I've been trying to call him, texting him, talk to his mom, and she's like, yeah, he went through his little episode, so he done left out. He probably over his one of his friends' house or over somebody's house or whatever.
Yeah.
But I said Malcolm will call me again. He'll call me, and when he calls me, I'll get on him and let him know. Say, hey son, that's not cool. You call me and tell me that you want to come up, come home, come to Kansas City, but then I don't hear from you for it's been almost 2 weeks
Yeah.
now. And
How
and
often do you hear from him anyway?
um, he and I usually either text or talk every other day, every 2 or 3 days.
Okay.
I try to with him. I try to let him be a man and
It's funny how
figure
we
it
do
out.
that, right? It's funny how we
Yeah,
do that with the boys versus the girls,
mhm.
right? Because your stance is like complete opposite with Farron.
Yeah.
Complete opposite.
Every day, Farron. Every day we need to talk. With Farron and Malcolm, with Malcolm and Little Reno, I was like, I'm gonna let y'all be men. But you know what? Women are the women are just the opposite.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah, with their boys versus the girls, and
yeah. So
but yeah, I was thinking about outside of say your mom and your dad, would you have anybody that you would consider like a mentor for you when you were younger, or anybody that you like leaned on for advice or guidance or anything like that?
dude, I'll tell you, man. So when I was in my first marriage, uh, her mom was married to a guy, and his name was actually Frank.
Okay.
When I tell you that dude is one of the coolest cats in America, he just laid back. You would think that when I first met him, I thought he was like a little nerd or whatever. Cat is a thug, But
Yeah.
he's one of those. He's a smart ass cat, and so he was an accountant back then, and then got into the appraisal business, and now he runs his own successful appraisal firm. And even back in the 2000s, he was running it. He was like head of the appraisal department for one of the big mortgage companies out here. But yeah, he's cool, dude. When I say and laid back, just like I remember him telling me back in the early 2000s, and actually lives around the corner. And telling me like, "Hey man, you should get in this appraising with me." And he was showing me like tax returns or whatnot, and how much he was making. Like, damn, okay, well, let me do it. Let me look into it. I'm like, yeah, that's too much for me.
Did
But
you? You didn't
yeah,
do it?
and this was like Malcolm was a baby, so this was like early 2000s, and I should have really should have stuck to it, and he had given me that advice back then, and so that's one of the things that I always tell Farron, like, hey, or even to Malcolm, you can listen to the advice that I give you now, but it's going to be up to you to take it to follow that path. What about you?
If you're enjoying this podcast, don't forget to subscribe and like us on YouTube and rate and follow us on your favorite podcast platform. I was just thinking you can lead a horse to water, but shit.
Can't make them think or drink.
Yeah. You know, I was thinking about that question when I asked you about. I was thinking about my situation. I don't know if I had one that I could pinpoint. Um,
What
you
was that
know,
cat in college name, man?
who? Cool ass Bobby,
Bobby used to give us all the good ass advice back
player.
then. Yeah, player. Hey, let me tell you something, player.
Listen, Bobby was like a mythical creature. That dude, I bet right now you couldn't find him if you wanted to. He's just he was like a mythical creature, man, that just existed there. He wasn't a student, for all I could tell, but he lived in the dorms.
yeah, yeah.
And he didn't work. He didn't go to class. He was just there.
Bobby was like the Mac.
Dude, yeah, Bobby, like you said, Bobby was a mythical creature. And I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was, they had that lie going on that he was like somebody's uncle or some cousin of somebody that,
He was Reedy's cousin. I
yeah,
had to get with
that was
Reedy.
the story anyway. Yeah, but
Yeah, yeah.
who knows? Like I said, he was like a, yeah, he was like Puff Magic Dragon. That's what he was.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
outside of that, man, other than like I said, my dad, my uncles, and I'm thinking about just male figures, right?
Yeah.
Um, um, that's probably it. I probably could have used some in some avenues in my life, but
Yeah.
I did a lot of stuff on my own, just make my own decisions. It's like, oh, I got it. I'm gonna figure it out. Oh, I know what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
just did that for a while, and it's like, you know what? There's got to be a better way than this.
Right, right.
Got to be a better way for me to figure this shit out, other than me trying to figure it out my own. Somebody's already gone through this shit.
But you're
Somebody's
also
done
looking
this
at,
already.
yeah.
Let
We
me know
didn't
how
know
to do
about
it.
counseling back then, though. We
No, I
really
didn't
did.
know. Did not know about counseling at all.
Mm-hmm.
So no, counseling. Speaking
Right.
of counseling, dude, my high school counselor was the worst.
So I
Was
think you and I had the same one. Is it with a capital? It starts with an M.
no, mine was with a B,
Oh,
and
okay.
she's married to the principal.
Oh no, shit.
Yes, remember?
Yeah, yeah. I remember.
Be-
But I didn't know they were married. I didn't remember that.
Before, yeah, before Elliot, before, yeah, with a B.
Wow.
Yeah, she was a counselor. She was married to the principal, and she was horrible.
Yeah.
She gave no effort.
I'm glad. I'm so thankful that the world has evolved since then because I don't believe that my counselor did anything to help me in school. Like us finding schools, he didn't help me with that. My principal, you know what? And I'm going to give a special shout out to a couple of people right now in high school. One is Miss Walker, Linda Walker, and I'll have to even tell her that about this podcast episode so she can even I'll give her a link. Um, she was our choir teacher, and we had the same choir teacher from 9th to 11th grade. Then he retired, and then she came over. And dude, when I tell you that when she came over, she brought a new attitude to where we were going to fucking state and winning state. Um, just we sounded like a much better choir.
Mm.
So I've always had the pipes, ladies and gents. I can sing my ass off. Uh, the second one was our senior high school principal, Miss Nelson. I think it was Linda Nelson. I think it was Linda Nelson, but she, dude, one of the things that I didn't even realize back then when we were in high school, the principal that we had, he because my brother was a was a goofball. I'll just say that they put that stigma on me and he was 2 years older than me, so they automatically put that stigma on me, and that principal at that time had a huge problem with me, and would not look out for me, and I almost Oh, excuse me, let me backtrack. So when Ms. Nelson came in, that's our senior year, lovely, beautiful woman, and was just out there looking out for the students, not just blacks. She's a black woman, beautiful black woman, but she wasn't just out there looking out for black women, black kids. She was looking out for all of the kids. And I can remember about a month before we were supposed to graduate, Ms. Nelson pulled me into the office and said, "Frank, you know you're not going to graduate." I said, "What do you mean?" No, boy. I went off. I even started cussing. I was cussing and crying back then. And it was a situation where in freshman year, I had an F in an English class, but it was an unwarranted F because they would drop your grade level from, let's say if you had an A, but if you went had like 10 absences or something like that, it would drop from A to a B, 11, B to a C, 12, C to a D, and all that stuff. And so I got an F in that class, and I told that previous principal all them years from freshman year, sophomore year, and junior year, hey, this was not the case. It was an unexcused absence. If you had unexcused absence, they would drop it. But if they were excused, it would stay the same.
Yeah.
And so he told me he would take care of it, he didn't care. He didn't care. But when I told her, and she within that end of that day, she told me, "You're all right. You're gonna graduate." I'm like, "Thank you, Miss Nelson. That was the greatest gift because I don't know what I would have been or where I would be today if it weren't for her and Miss Walker.
You be in summer school. I guess you be in.
Dog, if
In
I wasn't
summer
gonna
school.
walk with my mom and daddy probably would have made me say, "No, nah, boy, you gonna get this diploma." But that's just one of the things. That's an adversity I would have had to face at that time. But thank God that I had someone like Miss Nelson that took care of that for me because it wasn't even my fault.
Yeah. And that's really my point. It's important that we have people in our lives that can fill in the gap for us, or help us make that turn where we should have turned this way, we should turn that way. Whether it's a coach, a guidance counselor, a teacher, a mentor, a manager, um, a parent, family member, whatever. It's just important to have figures in your life that can help you when you do face adversity,
Mm-hmm.
help you face it and overcome it, so you don't just fail and fail backwards.
Yeah.
Like our boy said a few podcast episodes ago, you can fail forward,
Yep.
learn from it, develop a better plan, attack it again, overcome it.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes we need some help. We do. And to the young men, young women out there that are facing things, it's okay to seek help.
Yeah.
It's perfectly okay to seek help when you're stuck up against it. It doesn't mean the world's come to an end that you can't figure it out. Somebody out there, somebody maybe in your inner circle or your outer circle, you may need to go outside your circle.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's gone through it. Somebody can give you a key word. Somebody can give you something to help you get through
Absolutely.
it. Yeah. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. But that's all I had tonight, bro. I just want to kind of talk about guidance and adversity and mentor, all that good stuff.
All right. Cool. Well, man, I'm gonna leave it with a final word like this, man.
Frank's final words.
This man. I'm gonna talk to these folks real quick and give me about 5 minutes. Three to 5 minutes. 3 to 5. So I want to talk to y'all about a guy by the name of Leroy Hudson. Leroy Hudson was back in the late '80s. Um, Leroy Hudson was one of the biggest dope dealers in Kansas City. Leroy Hudson was one of the biggest knockout artists in Kansas City. Leroy Hudson and his home cronies, they ran Kansas City. They ran 50-50 and all of in that area.
It's your aunt,
Uh,
right?
Leroy Hudson is my uncle.
Your big aunt, yeah.
Leroy Hudson is my big uncle. Back in 1989, I believe. Forgive me if I'm wrong about this, but circa 1989, 1990, Leroy Hudson was convicted of murder. and went down to the penitentiary. I always looked up to Leroy. We called him Big Hut. We in the family we called him June. In the streets he was known as Big Hut. Big Hut. And I can remember when Big Hut and the fellas would roll around in their Cadillacs with Dayton's on them. I never seen as much money as I in my life, the cash in my life that I've seen with that my Uncle June would display. But he was convicted of murder back in the like circa 1989, 90. Leroy Hudson died in prison in 94, died of a heart attack. Leroy Hudson was the baddest motherfucker that I knew besides my daddy, and he's gone. Um, and it made me realize at that point that as much as I admired Leroy Hudson, I didn't need to be like Leroy Hudson. And Leroy and Uncle June would even tell me to this day, if he were living this day, he would say, "Don't be like me. I did what I did, and it was wrong. It was wrong. It was wrong out there selling crack." That's when crack was hitting Kansas City, and he was making money hand over fist. But if again, before he passed, I would go when I went down to LU, I would go see him every weekend, and he would tell me, "Don't be like me. Don't be like me. I'm in here. You be better than me." So we all have our hood heroes. We all have them. We all have our hood heroes, but I bet our hood heroes will tell you, don't be like them. Be better than them. So that's what you want to be. Ladies and gents, be better than Leroy Hudson, because Leroy Hudson will tell you, be better than him.
Good word, sir. Good word. Good word. And on that note, that's our time, y'all.
All right.
Big Frank,
So Jay,
Lil J. We out.
it was just
If you enjoyed that episode, don't forget to subscribe and like us on our YouTube channel and rate and follow us on your favorite podcast platform.